War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the War Report podcast, brought to you by tagmeadate.com. We'll be back soon, I promise. It's going to happen. But until then, you can join the crew. We got Eddie, we've got Kat, we've got Eric. I know Vince is on the way. And the chairman of the board said he was returning tonight, so let's see if the chairman actually returns. I was undecided. I was going to open with Roman Reigns for obvious reasons, and I have something to say about that. But how do you not open the show with Brock Lesnar? He is now our world heavyweight champion, and we'll get over feelings on that. But everybody, welcome to the War Report podcast. And hello to our Facebook user. I'm going to assume it's Tara. Once again, it's not giving names. Don't know why. But everybody, Vince is here. Say hello to Vince. Welcome. Our first podcast of 2022. We have Brock Lesnar starting the year. So we have a couple. Obviously, we have some things, right? We got SmackDown. We've got Raw. We've got fuck SmackDown. We've got Raw. And we've got day one, really. And I want to, there's two things I want to start with. Number one, I would like to acknowledge Vince Berry, the host with the most and the greatest fucking shirt that you could possibly imagine. We got a little Macho Madness action.
Oh, there we go. So epic.
Sky's the limit, the space is the place. Oh yeah.
Love it. I was always such a mark for Savage.
I like that shirt.
He likes it, Vince.
Yeah, you do. I mean, he's got good taste. It's Macho Man Randy Savage.
Right.
He's one of the best. And hello, Tara, from all of us to you. So, boy, do we have a lot to cover. And I obviously we got to start with day one. Now, I have to say this, and I would like to give my opinion on the show. I got to finally watch it today. And I have some notes, but I think this week we need to start with Eric, because it is my understanding that he actually has some positive feedback when in regards to the WWE and the day one pay-per-view. So Eric, my friend, I give you the floor.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just came in with low expectations. Because I came into the pay-per-view thinking I don't really give a crap about this, but the matches, all the matches were solid. I thought for the most part all the finishes were solid, despite people's feelings on Brock's involvement and this and that. I thought it was great. The match, everything.
The company was good too, don't forget.
Absolutely. I was at Kat's house that night on day one, and even Justin was like, wow, these are, Justin, to have positive feedback on the Madcap Moss match with Drew McIntyre. Man, I mean, if this match gets good feedback, then, it's just overall it exceeded expectations. So
out of a 10, Eric, what are you giving it?
I'd give it an 8.
That's high fucking marks from Eric, ladies and gentlemen. An 8. That's huge.
That might as well be 12.
To the rest of the world, that would be kind of like an over 10.
I definitely enjoyed it. I think that a lot of finishes made sense, and then a lot of it was decisive and this and that.
How often do we say that?
Yes,
Even the finishes,
coming,
made sense.
especially coming from me. But if I had only one minor pet peeve, and this was actually throughout the house when I was there, is that we felt that even though Brock is the top name and the top guy, whatever, we still feel like Big E, who was the champion, should have been outlast.
All right, you opened Pandora's box a little bit. I want to jump in if you don't mind. So
Absolutely.
I happen, and this doesn't happen often. So we're really kicking off 2022 in a strange kind of world right now, because I'm actually agreeing with 99.99999% of what Eric just said. And that shit doesn't happen anymore. So, I mean, I
just
do
fell
agree.
off my chair. Sorry.
I mean, listen, I really do. I think it was a great show. I think the matches delivered. I think the talent did what they were supposed to do. The storytelling for a change was good. It made sense. The finishes made sense. My biggest thing, and it really sucks, because if we fast forward right to first of all, what a fatal 5-way. To have that talent in one match is, say what you want about Seth Rollins. At the end of the day, when he's not talking and he's wrestling, he's fucking great in the ring. Kevin Owens is always a home run. And then you got Bobby Lashley, who's been a home run since he came back and joined MVP. And Big E, of course, as champion, has been fantastic. And then to throw Brock Lesnar in, obviously last minute, and I'm going to pause for a second, because at the end of the day, we all know firsthand, some of us, COVID is no fucking joke. And the one person on that roster that you really were afraid of all this time, like, man, out of all people, this is the guy that should not get COVID, gets COVID, in Roman Reigns. So I'm sure he's going to be fine. I'm sure he's fully vaccinated. So I'm sure he's going to have mild to cold-like symptoms. Hopefully, knock on wood, I'm no doctor, but hopefully he'll make a full recovery. He'll be back soon, and he'll be.
If you guys watched Raw, I don't know if anyone watched it, but Lesnar teased at the end saying, "I'll see you, Roman, on SmackDown."
Right.
So it sounds like.
Well, but that could be in general. Like, when you're back, I'll come see you on SmackDown.
It sounded like this. It sounded like this coming Friday.
Well, listen, technically, the rule is now with CDC is that if you test positive but not showing symptoms after 5 days, you can come back to work wearing a mask. However, he's not going to wear a mask in the ring. So that's going to be a little.
Before, though, he's put a mask on when he's wrestled in the audience and everything before, though.
But I don't see him cutting a full promo standing in the middle of the ring with a mask on. I could be terribly wrong, but I don't see that. But again, overall, I think, in a last minute decision, Brock is a free agent, so he can wrestle on any brand. I thought it made sense. His promo before the match was great backstage, where it's a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler. It's a prediction.
No, it's not a. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler, sorry. Right? No, but you know what I'm saying. So
I'll shut the fuck up.
I think it was absolutely great, and some heavy hitters, and we've been itching for Bobby Lashley Lesnar for a long time. And here's where I'm torn, because I love Brock and I love when he's champion, and I love this Brock. This is a different Brock. He's funny. He's still badass. The look is, when you just think somebody can't look any more badass, hello, Brock Lesnar, with the ponytail and the whole thing, the intensity, everything works. Now you got Paul Heyman back, which we'll see how that goes, because now a lot of things had to change, but some things may not change. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with Heyman. Is he really still the advocate to Brock, or is he really setting him up? Whatever they had planned for day one, I'm sure they can move over to Royal Rumble or whatever they're going to do. But I feel bad for Big E. Big E got one thing I will say, fucking love Heyman. That was a true shoot in that ring when he was talking about Big E and how he's a true wrestler's wrestler. and that he deserved everything he got, and he'd still be champion if Brock wasn't in that match. I mean, that's big praise coming from somebody like Paul Heyman.
Especially because he was supposed to win.
Well, right. Same here. But I feel bad. The guy was treated like shit as champion. He didn't win a match as champion, really. And not only that, but now you're in a position where you're in a fatal 5-way. And Big E had to be the one that got pinned.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like add a knife to the wound kind of thing, in my opinion. I thought that was kind of shitty. But I can't say I'm mad. I thought the match was great. The spots were great. Mm-hmm. So... And that goes for the whole pay-per-view. I thought every match delivered. But that was the big standout. That's the match I was waiting for. Correct
me if I'm wrong, though. Big E never had a title defense, though, this entire reign, though, right?
No, he defeated Bobby Lashley on 2 separate occasions.
Yeah, I thought he defended.
But besides the Bobby Lashley feud, there was no other title defense since September.
I think he has. I'm pretty sure. You can go back and kind of see it.
Where's Ryan when we need him?
I was just gonna say, where's Ryan?
Oh, he faced Owens for the title. I don't know if it's the title that he put on the line, but I know he's.
But that ended in a DQ.
Then they have a cage match as well. I don't know. We got to go back. I don't know. I'm pretty
sure.
Well,
that's what I'm just gonna say. Is goes to the point of how shitty he was as champion.
No, yeah,
he had no real.
We can't remember what happened. Yeah.
I feel like he definitely did have more losses than wins as champ, if that's what we're going by. But I know
either way,
title defenses. And he had
either way, at the end of the day, he got a raw deal. I mean, and it's a shame.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
110%.
You know, Kofi Kingston loses to Brock in record time. Now Big E, not record time, but loses in his first real big defense.
Brock has now beaten 2/3 of the New Day for the title.
Does this mean Xavier Woods is going to win a title?
I listen. I think one day before
lose to Brock.
I think eventually he has to
have an aneurysm if that happened.
Well, if
I
you
don't
notice, Kofi took the pin in that tag team match on day 1, so maybe they are going to do something with Kofi takes the pin that keeps Woods strong-ish. So
see, I can tell you right now that comment's Justin. I know exactly who said that one.
I wouldn't be mad at a heel turn for Big E, but I don't think it's necessary.
No, but I would imagine, that like the hijinks the heel New Day used to get into to rile people up. They could just bring that back.
That's funny.
What was the time? Oh no.
So, does anyone else have anything specifically about the Fatal 5-Way that they want to go over? Anything?
No, I mean, for me, it was fast paced. You had a bunch of heavy hitters. It delivered, right? So you had everything like Steve was just saying. These guys came in and they wrecked shit. I mean, they started from the moment the bell went off, and it was just heavy hitting. I mean, like I said, I was glued to that Fatal 5-Way because the way they started off with a bang, and they kept up the momentum, and they kept it up, and they kept it up. So yeah, just like you guys said, I definitely agree with Eric. Definitely a hard 8 for a solid score,
And speaking of 8s, the match itself went just about 8 minutes. So not a long match. When you think of like a main event match going 15, 20, 25 minutes or like an hour Broadway, not one of those, but comparable to, I've heard it a couple times now, the WrestleMania in Orlando match, Lesnar versus Goldberg, where that match only went 5 minutes, but it did exactly what it needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
was that it? It was only 8 minutes?
Yeah, the whole thing with entrances ended up being like a 20-minute segment. It was supposed to go, apparently the whole segment, including entrances, was supposed to go 30 minutes. And then I don't know if there was a call to make it go.
Listen, at the end of the day, it worked. It was long enough. I didn't need any more.
That's the thing. They were all hitting finishers and stuff right away. And like Bobby Lashley spears Brock Lesnar through the barricade, so they put him out for a little while.
Kevin Owens had that huge spot where he flipped off the balcony.
Kevin Owens is a madman. He's always trying to find ways to like hurt himself very badly. Remember that was it a TLC match where he made a pyramid of folding chairs and then jumped into it there wasn't even anybody there. He just jumped into it. Yeah, man. It was especially calling an audible day of the show. One of the big name talent gets sick and fucks up two of your main event matches. Do I think they could have pinned somebody else other than Big E? Sure, absolutely. You know, we had Seth in there and we have Owens in there, but I think their assumption here's how they book things when these changes go on. First of all, we all know from Bruce Pritchard on his podcast, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson, that when WWE announces a surprise in this instance, like when there's an injury or an illness that prevents someone from being on the show, they usually make that surprise entrant win. That surprise entrant has like a 99% win rate in WWE TV because think about it. It's a surprise opponent. The other opponents aren't prepared for them. There's a reason for them to logically win. And that's kind of been their MO, which so that it all tracks and it all makes sense, except for poor Big E taking the pin. Here's what I'm saying. What they might think is, okay, Roman's out. We don't know how long he's out for. He could be out 5 days, or this could be way worse. So let's assume that Roman's out. What are we gonna do? We need to build up an opponent for Brock Lesnar. Well, we can't pin Seth because him and Seth have history. So if we need to run that back, we can. We're not going to pin Owens because we just paid a whole bunch of money to re-sign, and he's going to be a big name. He's supposed to be one of our main event guys. We're not going to pin Lashley because we want to set up that match for Royal Rumble. So by default, Big E takes that pin just by being on. Even as the champion, he's the lowest guy on the totem pole, which is a weird thing. But that's it, man. I think that's what their assumption is. They were like, if Roman is out for the long term, what do we need to do to set all these guys up for WrestleMania? And when in doubt, it's one of those things like when you break glass in case of fire, put the belt on Lesnar in case of injury. It's like that's pretty solid plan for that's.
I mean, listen. At the end of the day, it's going to put butts in the seats when you have Lesnar, and everybody has been itching everyone's been itching for a Bobby Lashley Lesnar feud since Bobby Lashley returned.
Yeah.
So it would only make sense.
Imagine we never get this match if Roman doesn't get sick. That's such a strange thing to think about. Like, Bobby Lashley came back. He signed a contract with WWE and made it very, very known that he wanted this match with Brock. And they kept him apart for like 4 years. And now, by coincidence and happenstance, if somebody happened to get sick, here we are with what, as fans, we've all perceived as a big money matchup. Bobby Lashley against Brock Lesnar. How is that not a big money matchup? And they just decided not to do it for all this time. So I'm looking for, as unfortunate as it is that Big E got shafted, and unfortunate as it is that a guy who's immunocompromised and survived leukemia twice, like Roman Reigns, got COVID, the WWE at its best, or is at its best, when they have to book on the fly like this, when somebody gets
correct.
Injured, this is when they've stunk so bad at long-term planning for so long that their short-term, like, okay, somebody's injured, what do we do, is so on point. Like, they knew what to do. They consolidated the two matches. The right guy went over. The only other way I'd be okay was that if Big E retained and pinned one of the other guys, and then they still had that spot with Lashley and Brock, so they could still do that at the Royal Rumble. But with the title, they didn't know what was going to happen with Roman. I think putting the title on Brock was probably the right choice because you want to go into the Rumble with a main event match with the title on the line. So it just raises a whole lot of fucking questions, though, because Brock goes, "I'll see you on Friday." So are we going to go towards a title unification match? How does that happen if the two guys, like usually the Royal Rumble winner, fights somebody? So how are we going to get to a title unification at WrestleMania unless one of the champions enters the Royal Rumble? I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that would have to happen to have Brock stay champion and Roman stay champion and face each other at WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble winner would have to lose their title shot on like Raw or SmackDown to one of the guys. I can't, in my head, trying to get from what happened Saturday and Monday to WrestleMania where both of those guys are facing each other as a title unification, I have no clue.
Yeah.
I usually can try and pick out a route for this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know what though? But that's a good thing for a change.
No, it is. It's
you know, it's not that predictable where we can't place it yet. I mean, I think a lot will be known once we get through the Rumble. You know, then we'll be able to start piecing it all together. But I want to kind of shift gears. We've spent enough time on Brock. I want to give hats off to Liv Morgan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan wrestled her ass off.
Yeah, dude.
And win or lose, she solidified herself as a contender.
Absolutely.
And to see where she's come from, you know, and I'm just very, very happy for her. And I thought it was a great match. I wasn't surprised by the win, although I did pick Liv. I honestly thought they were going to give it to her.
Yeah, I did too.
But I'm not mad at the Becky Lynch, and I like what they're setting up now, where it looks like they're going to possibly do a triple threat, you know, with Bianca and now Doudrop, and so we'll see. And Liv. I don't know, maybe Fatal 4-Way. I don't know what they're going to do yet. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but I thought she did a great job.
I agree. I think Liv has stepped up. I mean, she's definitely improved. And the only weird thing is Becky, who's the veteran in this match, was the one that fucked up the finish. She was supposed to put her feet on the ropes and get a dirty pin, and she couldn't quite reach it. She went too far on that Uranagi slam and was too far away from the ropes to get the leverage with the pin. So it ended up being a clean victory for her, which it seemed like Liv was just going to get screwed until she got her big win against Becky. That's going to be the story they were telling, is that Becky was going to find ways to like weasel her way out and take shortcuts. Unfortunately, that clean loss, because Becky didn't get to the ropes to get the leverage, doesn't go along with that story. So
but I don't think it hurt Liv in any way.
I don't think it hurt Liv because, I mean, she still wasn't going to win the match. But I think what it did was it made their jobs harder, because Liv could have just come out on Monday and said, hey, you put your feet on the ropes and challenge you to a match at the Royal Rumble. Now we kind of have to have this extra step of these other girls getting involved. But I don't necessarily think that. Again, you know, they have to, when mistakes happen or when things that aren't planned happen, they're usually pretty good at finding a way out of it.
Sometimes those are the better stories.
Well, exactly. You know, real life plays a big part in pro wrestling, and the more you acknowledge, if you can acknowledge that while still putting on a fictional program, that's fantastic. So I think having Bianca and now Doudrop, who
I don't see why she gets. I mean, she's lost, so she's, to me, I don't know.
But I'm just glad that I feel like this is almost like an apology match for her. Like, oh, sorry, we stuck you with Eva Marie for 3 months. You're going to be in a number one contenders match. Show us what you got. Like, I want to see her have a good ass match. I want to see her break out and be like, I'm not just that redheaded bitch's sidekick. You know, like I want to see her do well. And
they should have dropped that awful name after Eva Marie was gone.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently, WWE has, I don't know if they've tried to trademark the name or if there's just been scuttlebutt backstage. It seems like, as of a couple weeks ago, I remember hearing about a potential name change back to either Viper or Piper Niven for her. So fingers crossed, because Doudrop is Doudrop is terrible. Yeah, it's doo-doo. Yeah, exactly.
That's what we do in the toilet.
Yeah, before you came on the show, the joke was I thought Doudrop was the name of like a big fat blue Pokemon. It just said its own name, Doudrop. Like that was so. It killed any interest I had. So if she goes back to Viper or Piper Niven, I think.
Yeah, and that's my whole point is that like with Eva Marie out of the picture, what's the point of keeping that name anymore?
Yeah, I think eventually she's going to have to say something. You know, this name was given to me by so and so, and now this is what I want to be called. That would be great. But I think, overall, I think that's a great thing to have Liv. If you're trying to get Liv over, put her in a match with Bianca, and that helps elevate Liv. especially if she wins, because Bianca's going to put on a hell of a match no matter what. You put Doudrop out there. Show us what you got, kid. Are you going to be a player in this division, this women's division? This is your chance to show us if you are or you aren't. So even if Liv wins, which sets up her facing Becky at the Royal Rumble, and that was the spot we were supposed to get to anyway, having this little wrinkle of like, well, Liv has to get through this number one contenders match first, kind of makes the juice more worth the squeeze, because Liv had to earn, like, if she eventually gets another title shot and beats Becky, she had to earn it, and it's gonna feel like she earned that title win because of all the shit she had to go through. But do you beat Becky right now? Like, who the fuck is beating Becky?
No, agreed.
I think it's got to be for me. It's got to be Bianca Belair. If it's not Liv, it's got to be Bianca Belair.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, is there any news on Ronda Rousey or anything like that? Does anyone know? Like, can that be a possible surprise entrant? In the
Last
Rumble?
I heard, she's just happy being a mom right now.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, that
baby's
could always
only-
change, but
Yeah, the baby's only 4 months old, so
Yeah. No, I had okay. So yeah.
but that's not to say that maybe they won't work something out. I mean, it's
Right.
possible, but I don't see it
I mean-
happening anytime soon. But
Bailey
Yeah.
could return. Asuka could return.
That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking in my head. Was
Yeah.
where the fuck has Asuka been? What's
Yeah.
going on
Karen.
with that? I feel like there's got to be something more to it.
Oh my God.
she was cleared 4 months ago. So she even said it on her Twitter a couple of weeks ago. She's doing nothing but sitting and catering every week.
Maybe they just have nothing for her. I don't know how that's possible.
How is that even possible?
You can even rekindle her feud with Becky Lynch easily.
Yep.
Yeah, because she's the one that she handed the title to when she got
Yeah.
pregnant.
Exactly. And Asuka's a main event player anyway. You could stick her. She could challenge for any women's title immediately and be credible.
Yep.
So
Unless they're gearing her up for a surprise return at the Rumble or something.
I thought they were doing that with Alexa, and then they're just like, "Oh, Alexa's back next week. Fuck your Royal
But you
Rumble
could,
surprise."
yeah, but you could do it with Alexa. You could do it with Bailey. You could do it with Asuka.
Well, now hold on. Did they say that she's officially back next week, or that we start to see the road to the return?
It said the road to the return.
The
Yeah,
road
so
to
I don't necessarily think Alexa Bliss is back next week. I could see her return being at the Rumble. But now Tara
Who's
brings
gonna
up
win it?
too Bailey coming back at the Rumble, and
Yeah.
does she go for Becky or Charlotte? So there you go. I mean, that's always another contender if you want it to be.
Danielle, hello. Yeah. She's Bailey again is another one you could just plop right into a main, world title scene. No doubt. And I think if you're going to keep the title on Becky and you're going to keep the other one on Charlotte,
TF Cormac, hey man, Twitch
Yeah.
follower, thank you so much for
Oh,
checking us
nice.
out. We appreciate it. Welcome
check
to the
us out on
show.
Twitch. I guess let the speculation run rampant because we talked about this with the men's side as well, with Brock winning this other title, the WWE title, and Roman having Universal. We don't know where the Rumble's going for the men. We have no idea where the Rumble's going for the women. Who's challenging Charlotte? Who's challenging Becky? I have that right. Charlotte and Becky, right? Those are the champs?
The champs, yep.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure.
I
so
almost
sure about
feel like
Charlotte.
WWE is going to have a problem with the women's Rumble.
Yeah, I was listening to Wrestling Observer Live earlier today, and they were like, they were saying, do they have 30 women that can compete in this Rumble? Like,
You'll probably have to snatch up a good 8 to 10 talent from NXT, and then
Trish Stratus comes back again. Mighty
yeah,
Molly
they'll
comes
probably
back,
Tori Wilson, and then whoever else, and they'll
Bertha
just bring
Faye.
whoever they can. Kelly, and
Bite
No,
your
no,
tongue. Bite your tongue.
hey, listen,
Hey, I'll watch Kelly any day.
get Judy
You want to
Martin
watch
out
her
there?
on screen? That's great. You don't want to watch her in the ring.
Stacey, you're not hearing this, right?
Kelly got much better at the end.
That's what she said when the bed broke. But
Oh, what?
I only wish I could have ever experienced that. But anyway, so again, overall, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yep.
Was there anything else from day one that anyone wanted to speak on or
The
or
tag match
touch
that started the freaking show, man, was off the
Well,
fucking
now,
charts.
I am so fucking glad you brought that up because you joggled my memory, and I appreciate that. So
That set the bar for the whole freaking night.
absolutely agree. That was a great match. Usos they all put on a hell of a show, but I was happy to see that the Usos took it. I thought that was just great.
With
But
their
the
new
other
finisher.
yeah, with
The 3D that they
oh.
called it the 1D.
Yeah.
which
the
was-
1D, which apparently Bully Ray was very happy with. He talked about that on Busted Open on
That's
Sirius. But I will say this too: the other tag match with the Street Profits
Yeah.
and the Arcade
RK
Bro.
Bro.
I got to tell you, it almost looked to me like they were kind of toying with a Street Profit heel turn. They were a little more aggressive than usual. They were wearing darker outfits, which whatever, but it kind of, and then commentary kind of related to we're seeing more of an aggressive side, although they did all pound it and hug it out at the end, which I thought was great. I thought the whole thing was great. So I think they might be teasing that idea in the far not too future that the Profits may go heel. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing yet because I don't think I've ever seen them heel.
You would have to change everything about the Profits then, because everything from their entrance to the look, the cups flying in the air,
Right.
all that shit just screams celebration. It's a party, bitches. Like, let's have fun. I personally think if that's what it's cool to see that, right? And have that go,
but is it necessary?
I don't know. I don't think it would
See,
be.
I think you got a good thing with them.
Yeah.
They're so fucking over. I think
yeah.
you leave it the way it is. They weren't so over at the pay-per-view, if you notice, but they were over. I mean, it was against Arcade Bro, and they're
That was inevitable.
well,
And I
right.
think
That's
that
what I'm
was
saying.
That was why they played more of a heel thing. Like Bret Hart would do that when Bret Hart versus Diesel, and they were both baby faces. Bret Hart would still kind of play the heel and cheat a little bit, and so that they probably did that because they knew Arcade Bro was going to get the bigger reaction, because it was ultimately what was the finals of the Arcade Bro tournament, whatever the fuck it was. So those guys were being built up as like it was about them. So, and especially because the crowd loved Randy Orton. Migos came out with those guys. I mean, that's crazy that they got Migos out there with them. So I can understand why Street Profits.
They did look like they were having a ball, though, and they were eating it up, climbing the rope and posing with Orton and Riddle. Like they looked like they were having the time of their life. So
that was when Randy told everybody what to do, and they all went to the ring posts, and Migos and Randy Orton and Matt Riddle all hit the RKO pose. I was like, oh, that brought me back to when him and his dad would do the back-to-back RKO pose. Yeah. Oh man!
I'm not gonna lie to you though. I kind of wanted either Offset or the other one to get RKO'd. I was kind of hoping for at least one of them to get dropped.
Offset probably would have done it too, because I know he's a big fan because Cardi B's a fan. So,
but no, I was hoping for it.
Last year she was talking shit around WrestleMania season, right?
There was talks about her coming for Mania, but then COVID was a bitch.
And it still is.
And still is. Not much has changed yet in 2022.
No,
it's only day 4. We still have hope.
All right.
Betty White died for our sins. Betty White sacrificed herself to make 2022 a better year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How sad is that too?
That was awful. Yeah, poor. Everybody was all getting ready to celebrate her 100th birthday and shit. Oh man, 2 weeks.
Yeah, but no, definitely, man, definitely.
Speaking of which, though, did you guys see like the animal donation thing? I'm sorry to go completely off topic for Betty White, though, but the thing is for her birthday on the 17th, because she was such a huge animal advocate, that every person on that date donate $5 to a rescue of your choice to see how much money you can raise on behalf of Betty White for animal rescue.
That's pretty cool. So is there anything else on day 1 that anyone wants to touch on, or have we pretty much hit?
The only other thing, and I guess this will tie into Raw too, is Drew McIntyre got Pillmanized on his neck, which is pretty nasty.
Yes.
And he's out. Like the report is he's suffering some sort of legitimate neck
injury.
that he's been
really
wrestling
checked
through the
out.
neck injury. Yeah.
And props to I never want to recommend anybody work injured, but props to him for sticking it out.
Oh yeah,
but
this
damn,
guy
dude.
carried us through the 2020.
Right.
This is the guy who was doing
a year and
all
a
that
half.
work.
And
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about
now
a guy
he
who
deserves time off.
and talk about a guy who had to carry the company and
Yeah,
look at
exactly.
just
Not on
TV
the
screens because he never
Yep.
had a live crowd to work with.
Exactly.
Which sucks. And Tara makes a good point. There is one other thing we have to touch on, and I can't believe we didn't touch on it, but that match between Edge and The Miz was
The Miz,
fantastic. I thought the finish was great, and Beth Phoenix looked beyond badass. And now it's setting up the mixed tag at Royal Rumble. So I thought that was awesome. It was a great match, great finish. Anyone have some thoughts on that match?
Oh, well, Eric
I
and
apologize. I should not be giving Tara the credit for that one. Was that Justin?
I think it was, yeah.
Justin, I apologize. We got to get the fucking names working so I know who the fuck we're talking to. My apologies. My apologies.
Thank you, Facebook user.
Yeah, seriously. My apologies.
Yeah, because sometimes it's Ryan.
But no, Eric and I were outside actually when that happened. And then all from inside, all we hear is Justin, Autumn, and Alex, and everybody screaming at the top of their lungs. So we both just said, yeah, Beck Phoenix just showed up.
Yep.
God, she looked like she stepped out from fucking Asgard, man.
Yeah, and I don't know what her deal was, but she retired way early, in my opinion. Like, she could have.
I think she wanted to focus on having kids. I think that was
very admirable, but also like that women's division fucking suffered for like 10 years because she retired in like 2009 or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
it's like
Steve said, she just wanted to get rated R.
He did the rated R.
That's my husband.
No, I know that's Justin.
He wants Rhea Ripley in the bed. He wants Asuka, Kari Sane, Beth
Wow.
Charlotte.
I'll just take Ricochet. I'm good.
Yeah, we know.
Very athletic dude.
Ricochet broke that guy's face last night. Legitimately broke Ridge Holland.
Oh yes.
There is slow motion footage of it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's so bad. Oh,
horrible.
Cat, you can have him.
Thanks, babe.
There we go.
But he has to have the other, I guess, 3, 4 that you just mentioned. So no.
Listen, the celebrity pass list that we both have are extremely long, and the chances are about this big, so we're good.
Yeah, I never understood having one celebrity pass. It should just be the celebrity pass, and any celebrity you
I have a
for.
fucking book. It's okay.
It's like, how are you gonna okay, let's say you go to a comic book convention or whatever, one of those conventions, and the freaking guy from Sons of Anarchy is there.
Oh God!
You can't go. Oh, I'm sorry.
You have to go with Sons of Anarchy.
But you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry. My celebrity pass is Ricochet, not Jax Teller or whatever the fuck. Like,
oh no, it was never Jax. It was Chibs.
Oh, it was Chibs. Oh. Okay.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Oh, yeah, forget Jax. It's
I would have took you for more of a juice girl.
Oh God, no.
Scars is real. Chibs actually got cut like that in real life. Those scars.
No, Chibs and Clay. I'm all good.
Oh, there you go. But so enough about which celebrities we want to fuck.
This show just went left.
That could be a whole episode.
It really could. Most of it would just be pro wrestling rosters. Wow. It would just be like, all right, just about every woman in the AEW.
Yeah, let me double check. Justin, did I miss anybody on your celebrity pass list, or did I do good?
Trish Stratus.
Oh yeah, Trish, Lita.
The Canadian Bacon herself. Come on, bro.
Stacy Keibler, I think.
Mae Young. Oh my God.
Mae Young? Is that what you are?
Oh, I just said that for fun.
Wow.
So Monday Night Raw.
I'm about to say thanks, Steve. I'm like, this is going left.
So Monday Night Raw opens up with the great Brock Lesnar and your new champion. Holy shit. The chairman of the board has arrived. Better late than never.
Never late is
Holy
better.
shit. Wow, 20 minutes left of the show, but we're glad to have you, my friend. Real quick, because we're gonna
5 minutes.
real quick, we're gonna jump over to Raw. But what were your thoughts on the day one pay-per-view?
I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, I'm an old man now, so I fell asleep at the end. I got to be honest. But I did watch a replay, and I thought it was it's getting competitive. I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view.
Yeah, we're all in agreement with you.
Yeah,
We all had high remarks for the show. So yeah, well, we're glad to have you, man. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first show of the year. So we shift to Raw, right? Paul Heyman is back as the Advocate. It was a great segment overall. Great promo from Brock, great promo from Heyman, and our new champion. What'd you guys think to the open?
I mean, you can't miss Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. That's like peanut butter and chocolate. It's just, that's the combination that's been working for the last 20 years in the WWE. So it's just interesting that we were all kind of calling that Superman punch from Reigns to Heyman a potential swerve. We never really got to see what the resolution of that was because Reigns got sick. And now we're just kind of going along with, yep, Heyman is now just back with Brock Lesnar, at least for the moment.
Well, but they can still, whatever swerve they had planned, I mean, you can still potentially
do it down the line. Yeah.
Listen, you got Lumberjack Lesnar and Paulie Dangerous back together. And he shoots a hell of a promo saying, I'll see you, on SmackDown. They make SmackDown relevant in just one line. And normally Lesnar doesn't fucking talk, right? Which is nice. So he's doing a better job of that too. So we're seeing some growth. We're seeing something different. I mean, honestly, if our normal feeling would be, I've seen Lesnar and fucking Reigns do this 7,000 times already. I would love to see something different, but it looks like we're moving towards something different. So,
hey, listen, now we're going to get Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar finally.
The almighty.
I mean, listen, on paper, this match is going to be insane.
Mm-hmm.
Forget on paper in the ring. Lashley's going to beat the shit out of this guy. He needs to go home.
Damn straight.
Go home and get some more.
So your prediction right off the bat, your prediction is Brock Lesnar's losing.
Well, yeah, he's got to take the belt from Reigns. That makes more sense. And they're not unifying titles. That shit ain't happening.
I don't know.
Don't you still owe me from the last bet? I fucking put another wager.
Wow. Here we go.
Oh my God.
First of all, what was the last bet? You haven't
we
you haven't been here in like 10 months.
Wow, you gotta have receipts, bro. You gotta have receipts.
3 months, a fucking year, you owe me money. Pay me my money.
I don't know what money you
have money
speak
for
of.
fake mustaches.
Listen, you lost. Hand it over.
You're like the guy on TikTok. We're gonna get you that Amazon fake money.
No, I'm good. I like real monies.
No, but I don't know. I think the match is going to be fantastic. Either way, it's gonna. I hope they make it I want a stipulation. Something. Not that it needs it, but I feel like no DQ or false count anywhere or last man standing. Something like that. But either way, we're going to win in this situation because it's just going to be fantastic.
What is that? 12 years in the making? It's sick.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, if you think about, even the last time Lashley was there, they still never faced.
Yep.
Which is mind-blowing that you had two guys like this. It's mind-blowing to me that you never...
That was when they had 3 brands, remember, and they had to keep Lashley on ECW at the time to, make ECW mean anything, because that was right after. This was 07, 08. So this was right
Brock was
after.
gone.
Well, wasn't Lesnar gone by that time?
Lesnar might have been gone by that point.
I think he was, yeah.
He was gone after WrestleMania 20, if I was correct, and then that whole thing with Lashley wasn't that 21 WrestleMania 21, 22 when he shaved Vince's head?
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
22, yeah.
Well,
22, I
they
felt like
just missed each other.
They felt like they just missed each other.
When we got a glimpse of that on the pay-per-view on Sunday, that shit was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we need see, you know.
That's a fatal 5-way that is just amazing. I was so pumped to see that match, even though it was under some shitty circumstances. But
Also 13 minutes. 13
well,
match, 5 guys.
you know what though? We were saying it earlier too. This is one of those matches that the length didn't matter. Like it hit on all cylinders. They all hit their spots. They all did what they had to do.
Yeah.
You know, it was like almost the perfect amount of time.
We got to see the actual match last night on Raw, because you could tell that was the match that they had originally.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we have this whole match plan. We might as well do it.
That's
Yeah.
what it actually turned out pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, it was well done.
I will say this though, like the without knowing anything about the actual Rumble matches themselves, the card beyond the Rumble matches is already shaping up to be great, because we got Lesnar versus Lashley and we got the Miz and Maurice versus Edge and Beth. So I mean that's all.
And they're going to wind up doing AJ Styles Omos. That's going to happen at
All
Rumble.
right. So yeah,
What
Monday
the
Night
fuck was
Raw.
that last night?
I couldn't care less about that.
Motherfucking- I'm sorry. Put the kids to bed for a second. There is no universe that should exist among all of Doctor Strange's 14,500,000, wherever the fuck it was, universes. There should not even be one in which almost beats a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, a legend, NWA champion, TNA champion, WWE champion, AJ fucking Styles,
Thank you.
IWGP heavyweight champion. What the fuck are we doing? This guy can't even take a bump. He can do nothing.
Yep.
AJ Styles basically ran at a brick wall and threw himself off of it for 5 minutes before.
Yep.
Like, it was the equivalent of running at your garage door and just putting your head down and just bumping off of it. Like, there was just no skill to it. The guy can't work. Why are you putting him over one of the best wrestlers of the last 20 years, AJ Styles?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The guy is just so big and robotic. It's just hard to watch him.
You know what? They want to build up this feud or whatever. I don't give a fuck. Put him in a squash match with somebody else. They did not need to fucking do that last night. It was
At least
so
take
stupid.
any knee bumps like King.
I, for one, I'm good with the one. I hope Steve's not right. I hope this does not go to the Rumble and have a rematch. I hope it's something else in store for Styles. Just put Styles in the Rumble, and that's it.
Right, but they have to do something now for AJ to redeem himself after what happened.
Keep in mind, too, even if they do a match with Omos and AJ at the Rumble, that doesn't mean that AJ won't be in the Rumble, or Omos for that matter. They might still both be in the Rumble anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
There's one saving grace. Maybe there'll be another budget cut and Omos will be in it.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
See, but I don't think that's necessary. Like he shouldn't be in the ring. He should be a sidekick. He should be a
That'll
bodyguard.
stop
Or,
the feud if
you know.
there's another budget cut.
Well, listen, he was a sidekick for quite some time. Obviously, we haven't seen him work. He obviously can't really work. But at the same time, that's the point of AJ being there, right? To put over the new guys, give these guys a shot. I think my prediction is this feud goes all the way to Mania. As bad as it sounds, I think they're going to push.
You think you're special? You do. You fucking almost an AJ Styles black and white, like WrestleMania X7. Oh no.
No thanks. I'd rather see him go against what the fuck is Apollo Cruz's freaking Commandant or whatever.
Aziz.
Yeah, there you go.
Yo, he had a
Commandant Lassard. What the hell is his name?
Well, weren't those guys on the Raw Underground, those two guys that used to fight and beat the shit out of each other, some shit like that? Aziz
Yes,
and
you're
Omos.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Almost was the guy that watched the door. He was a fucking bouncer. And Aziz was the guy that never lost and was Shane's brother or some shit like that.
When did
What a
Veer
waste.
stop coming? They didn't announce him last night. Veer Mahan, the $1 million arm. They literally took the guy who the movie $1 Million Arm was based on, stuck him in NXT, and then fucking forgot about him. And then they did like 8 weeks of vignettes. Veer Mahan is coming to Raw, and then last night, no more Veer Mahan vignettes. I feel like they just gave the fuck up on the guy.
No, but on top of that, at this, they just threw in Alexa Bliss before the main event for no reason at all.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
by
saying
the
that
way,
earlier. It's like, fuck your Rumble surprise. Here comes Alexa.
who the fuck wrote this? Like, who? This is bad. Even Steve can't fuck up a show that bad. Oh, wait.
Wow.
God.
Go fuck yourself. You fucking.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
I missed you. So
Oh, this
Monday
makes-
Night Raw. Now I heard some chatter in the group, and I tried to mute the conversation both on day one and Raw because you guys were all talking. So I tried to mute it, but I did catch where last night a few of you were pretty down on Raw. Not like that's a surprise. I mean, it's Raw, but I actually didn't think Raw was that terrible. I thought it was a great play off of what took place, at day one. I don't know. What did you guys think was so terrible? I didn't think it was that bad of a show.
Well, the kickoff was great. That's not where the issue went. But then you have like what happened with AJ Styles. You have, just shit. The first 30, 40 minutes of it, I'll give it. It was a good show. It had its moments and it was peaking to be a good show. It didn't capitalize again until we got to the fucking main event. So for the 2.5 hours you have to wait for that, it was snooze fest, at least in my opinion.
I don't know. I thought the prime time, Jesus
Prime
Christ.
time?
The Street Profits had a great tag team match.
Prime time players.
RK Bro also had a great match. So I mean, I did think there were some pretty decent matches, to fill up that 2.5 hours or so.
It's the 3-hour flow. Exactly.
That's true. We say it time and time again. It's not going to change now that we're in 2022. The 3-hour show is way too fucking long. We all agree with that.
Right.
Yeah,
But if you go off of like what the pay-per-view was on Saturday night, I almost said Sunday. But if you go off of what the pay-per-view was on Saturday night, plateauing like where even Eric and everybody were all in agreement, 7, 8, 9 is what we're going to grade the show. Raw was probably a 6 or a 7 because of the way everything spaced out. It just didn't work.
I think I gave it an 8. I think Raw was a good one yesterday.
I didn't think Raw was bad.
C+.
So
So
what did you give it, Sam? I'm sorry.
I give it a C+.
C+. Yeah, it wasn't anything spectacular. It should have been more for what happened on Saturday night.
I think they did a pretty good show considering the past, let's say, 8 weeks of Raw, right? Where you don't even need to watch most of it. You want to skip it. It's a snooze fest.
Right.
There were some points that were bad, but at the same time, it's nice to get a program with, Belair and the man and, you know what I mean? And Liv, keeping Liv alive. I like to see the Dewdrop promo, giving Dewdrop a chance to, it's moving forward. You can see the progress of the program.
Sure.
It's just a writing.
that I agree with you. It's definitely getting better.
It's missing somebody to just be like, you know what, let's put this back. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. There's got to be that something, and there is something missing, and I think we'll get it. It's just a matter of what. I think the Rumble is always a great place for that to happen because somebody unexpected could show up and we'll all go nuts. That would be great. But who knows? I mean, this is the exciting time of year, right? This is the road to WrestleMania. Why the fuck are all the pay-per-views on Saturdays now?
So my kids can watch them.
I mean,
premium live events.
Oh,
As part
okay.
of your Peacock package, you get premium live events. Not
So why
pay-per-views.
are pay-per-views now all on fucking Saturdays?
Yeah. Aside from
No,
WrestleMania.
I'm being dead serious. They switched them, whatever, also because of the age brackets. Because there were a lot of complaints going around or whatever that kids can't stay up on a Sunday night to go
Oh, fuck them. They were able to. Listen. They were all my life. Fucking pay-per-views have been on a Sunday, and we made it work.
Yep.
I
I
begged
agree.
and pleaded
I'm
to my
just telling
parents
you.
this one Sunday, just let me stay up late so I can finish the pay-per-view. And that's when I was allowed to stay up a little late.
Yeah,
you make
but
it
when
work.
we did it when we were kids, it only happened 4 times a year. Now it happens every fucking month.
All right, well, that's fair. That's true. That is true.
We had 3 pay-per-views on Sundays and we had the Survivor Series on Thanksgiving Eve. We only had to pull that blackmail 3 times. My kids, every
Thank you
freaking
for
month, there's a
dating us.
pay-per-view
Now we
on a
look like
Sunday
old
night.
Assholes. Thanks for that.
What'd
What?
you say?
You dated us. Now we sound like old assholes.
Oh, I know. We do
Back
sound
in my
old.
day, there were only 4 pay-per-views. It's true.
Back in
Your
my
house.
day,
Back in my day, we only had 4 pay-per-views.
there was only one pay-per-view at the Sportatorium.
I mean, listen, every now and then we would get a Saturday night's main event, something like that. But fucking
Listen,
Christ.
WrestleMania 2, Nassau Coliseum part, okay? I know I'm old.
Listen, nobody's arguing with you there. Let me tell you.
But I thought overall, I thought Raw was pretty good. Now, Royal Rumble is shaping up. We've got a few minutes left. I'm
Obviously,
curious.
Dominic Mysterio is winning.
We have
It's
to
either
start.
Dominic Mysterio or Top Dollar, baby. Yeah.
Day one and War was good when we're not even mentioning anything about AEW, and it's
I was
been
gonna say we didn't talk about
5
AEW.
minutes.
There's
We
no real
didn't cover
championship
Tony
match on
Storm
Wednesday.
at all either.
I hope
Oh,
Top
yeah,
Dollar
Tony
does
Storm.
show up. Hey, I hope Top Dollar does show up as a surprise and wins the whole fucking thing.
That would be
Wow.
great.
Fucking
That would
shit.
be great.
Dollar.
I'd pop for
Top Dollar.
winning Rumble.
Wow.
Yeah, Tony Storm pulled a Nathan Jones.
What the fuck? And
Yeah.
she asked for it. Like,
Right.
they didn't fire her.
Listen to
She asked
last
for it.
week's show.
It even looked like she didn't even ask. It looked like she finished the match, grabbed her
Right,
things, bought a ticket on her phone, and flew the fuck out of
Yeah,
it.
she paid her
That's
own
what it
way.
looks like.
Does anyone have
Paid her
more
own
detail
way.
as to what happened?
She was just burnt out, dude. I think she was just over it.
Yeah.
Listen, they may have been showing her like shit, but she's still fucking having a title match against Charlotte Flair. That's when you
Oh, I
decide
know.
to leave?
But like
Like-
they were kind of screwing around. Like you saw what they did. She got pies to the face or like baked beans in her pants.
Hey,
whatever
Charlotte
they
got it back though, right?
She
Listen,
did. But then
During the
but
main events for the women's division, you were
In-
Charlotte Flair.
she wasn't
It's
booked
a
on
match.
that house show the whole week. They call her at 8:00 in the morning. You've got to fly to Washington to go work this house show. So she worked it. And she's like, "Fuck this! I'm sick of getting called at 8:00 in the morning to do some bullshit. I'm leaving." Like that was just her. I think that's just her. That was just her attitude. She's like, "Fuck this."
It was stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, you wait all this time. They're now starting to use you and putting you in a spot with Charlotte Flair, and now you decide I'm gonna go. Adorable, Sam. Adorable.
Oh my God,
Oh
look
my
at the
God.
cutie. I can't.
Look at that face. Future
Oh my
world
God.
heavyweight champion right there.
I
Yeah.
can't.
Out of
Now
here.
he's getting shy. So, anything else on Raw or Royal Rumble? Anything you guys want to touch on? We got a few minutes left before we take it home. Next week, we should start coming up with some ideas of who we think are going to be a surprise this year.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows for the women, there's going to have to be a few.
There's gonna
It's going to have to be about
I mean-
20 of them.
So, but it'll be interesting to see.
Out of here.
Anybody have any last words before we take it home?
We do have Bryan Danielson at Hangman Adam Page Part 2 coming tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be huge.
Yes, on a new network, TBS.
TBS.
That's right.
The mothership, Daddy.
What channel's TBS? Is it 39?
In New York?
16 back
Yes.
in my day.
It's been forever.
I just downloaded the app. Well, that's how I watch all this stuff.
There you go. Yeah,
Oh!
but-
And we forgot to give our shout out to JR, who's cancer free.
Yes,
That's
Oh,
right.
good old
yes.
JR.
Cancer-free, boys.
Cancer free.
Hero
Awesome.
welcome on Dynamite this Wednesday. They opened the show. It made me emotional watching it because
Yep.
just seeing, knowing everything went through, and also because
You
it
see
just
how
made me
excited
think-
he got?
Mhm.
and because it was genuine, and I just think back to all those times where JR got sick and then Vince McMahon was pulling bullshit out of his ass
Yeah.
like on TV, and all the other bullshit that they put this poor guy through. He had Bell's palsy, this, that, and all the other things, and they treated him like an asshole for so long. And it's so like they teased him and they made fun of him, and now he's somewhere. And I know he's towards the end of his career and he's an older guy, but like he's somewhere that everybody respects him for the legend that he is. And it was like he finally reached that point where they're not fucking with him. This isn't a joke. This isn't going to end with, Jerry Lawler saying that somebody has anal bleeding or whatever the fuck. Like, it was a genuine moment
Yep.
to welcome this guy back. It was great. to see.
And that he got to broadcast with Tony Schiavone and everything too. It's freaking
with Tony,
amazing.
I mean, it's just, we're going back to TBS. There's going to be wrestling on TBS with JR and Tony Schiavone. We haven't seen that in almost 40 years.
Yep.
And a world title match. A world title match with a 60-minute time limit and 3 judges. In case it hits the 60 minutes, you're going to have the judges scoring the bout. So
I'm
we'll see
gonna-
if there's any-
I'm gonna-
Over.
I'm going to end the show with this. In my opinion, good old JR is our John Madden.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
hell
mean?
yeah.
And that's, so it's just an amazing feeling to know that he said fuck cancer and he beat it. And it was so great to see how excited he was to be back on TV and doing what he loves to do. Who knows how much more time we have of good Joel JR at the mic. So we got to enjoy every minute that we have. But good for AEW for making it an important thing and opening their show with that. And on that note, Vince, take us home, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was great to see JR, and he sounded so energized throughout the night, so happy to be there, which is it came through in his commentating. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is our first show of 2022. If you would like to follow the War Report or tag me a date, you can go to Tag Me a Date or at Tag Me a Date on most social media. That's Tag Me a Date with no spaces. It's all one word. On Twitch, we are twitch.tv/War Report. And again, that's all one word, War Report. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, Twitter, basically TikTok, anywhere that you can put in at Tag Me a Date, just put it in and you can follow us on that platform and see what we're doing. We live stream on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. If you go to youtube.com, type in Tag Me a Date in the search bar, you can go and subscribe to our page, hit the bell to get notified when we upload a new video or when we go live. As I said, we go live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. on Eastern Time every single week. And you can watch those live streams, like I said, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Or if you would prefer to listen to the audio-only version of the podcast, you just have to wait a little while. Within the hour of our show going off the air, Ryan, our lovely intern, uploads the audio version to your podcast app of choice. So check out Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, or Google Play Podcasts. Type in Tag Me a Date or the War Report. You should get there. Just so you know, there are 2 War Report podcasts. One of them, they're some newcomers that came in 2020. So if you're looking when you subscribe, make sure you see on the War Report icon, it's also going to say Tag Me a Date. And that's how you know it's our podcast. And of course, if you have friends that like listening to wrestling podcasts or want a new podcast to listen to, please recommend the War Report. We'd love to have more people engaged in our chat every week. You can join Tara and Jared and the rest of the crew in the comments. And yeah, just spread the word, the good word of the War Report. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of the War Report, brought to you by tagmeadate.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you again next week.
Cheers.